What is going on, YouTube? It's Tyler from Mission VR, where it's my mission to bring you guys good quality VR content. So today we are going to be revisiting our top 10 Oculus Quest games list. I've done a couple of these videos on my channel so far, and I have to keep updating the list because the top 10 keeps changing, and some of those games made it on this list, but a good majority of them didn't anymore, and it is a shame. Well, I shouldn't say it's a shame. It's a good thing for virtual reality that there's so many good games coming out, and it's pushing the boundaries further and further and getting more people in. But some of those games I included on the last list back in the beginning of this year, Hyper Dash, Contractors, Onward, Until You Fall, they're not going to make this list. And that doesn't mean they're not good games. They are great games. They are games that you should buy. We would love to buy them. But at the same time, this is a top 10 list, and that top 10 games has changed, and there are some really, really quality titles that need to be talked about that are on this list. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Also, I'm going to be doing a giveaway in my Discord server for Christmas. I haven't launched it yet. It's going to be a game of choice, so if you guys are interested in having a chance to win a game of choice, please do go ahead and head over to my Discord server and just stay tuned for announcements over there. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop on this video. I do have to put a disclaimer on here. After the fall releases December 9th, that game would probably make this list. Just from the initial everything that's going on, it looks like it's gonna be a pretty good game. I'm gonna be popping a review out for it, so make sure you guys stay tuned to my channel, subscribe, like, keep notifications on for that if you're looking for a review for it. But that game would probably fall on this list. It's not on this list now because it's not out yet, but all these games are really, really good. So let's go ahead and hop on into the list. So with our 10th pick and our first pick on this list, we have Resist. Now this is the game that kind of came out of nowhere, and it's, came out, and it's just been making waves. If you play it, it's a ton of fun. You're basically like Spider-Man in like a dystopian style future where you have to fight off, an evil AI robot empire, basically, where you swing around an open world city, with these grappling hooks, and you go through and you kill robots. What more is there like? You're swinging around a city like Spider-Man with, futuristic guns killing robots. It's a recipe for success. It also has a good system of upgrades where you can upgrade your character. It's got some progression going on, a decent story. It's a good game overall, and it's one of those games that I think definitely deserves to be on this list because you can have an absolute blast playing it. It is a really, really fun title, especially if you're looking for an open world VR game, which there just isn't a ton of those right now. So it does give you that sense of freedom and immersion, and obviously you're swinging through a city like Spider-Man, so what's not to love there? All right, so with our 9th pick on this list, we have Stride. Now, Stride has been out for a while. It's been out for a while on PC. It's a little newer on Quest, but it's a game that I think is worth everybody taking a look at. If you've ever played Mirror's Edge, the original Mirror's Edge game where you're kind of parkour and you're running through the top of skyscrapers and you're shooting people and you're punching people, basically that, but in virtual reality, and it is really cool. It's a very smooth experience. It's honestly an awesome title. It's a lot of fun. It kind of gives you John Wick vibes as you're running across rooftops, shooting people with pistols, doing parkour, jumping from building to building, running up walls. It's overall an amazing title, and I definitely think it's one that is worth taking a look at, especially if you're into these type of games. It's not necessarily a rhythm-based game, but it has some feel to that, and if you throw in some music in the background while you're doing it, or if you like the music that's in the game, either or, it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. Definitely worth the buy. All right, at our number 8 spot, we have the newest addition to the Quest library. I shouldn't say the newest, but it's pretty new. Blade and Sorcery Nomad. This was a surprise when it was announced here at Connect not that long ago, and I know the devs have been working on that for a while, but Blade and Sorcery Nomad Edition is launched exclusively for the Quest, and it is the Blade and Sorcery that most PC VR players are familiar with. It's awesome. It's just honestly, it's a lot of fun. And they've added dungeons to it, which allows, you actually to have some sort of, thing to do other than sandbox mode. But even in the sandbox mode with Blade and Sorcery, the amount of cool kills you can perform, it honestly just makes you feel like a badass. And there's sometimes I just hop on Blade and Sorcery and just pretty much role play like playing some knight defending a castle or something where, nobody can stop me. And I I'm able to, craft all these exuberant weapons and, have magical abilities, and the slow motion kills are just a ton of fun. It's a game where you could get lost in for hours without even knowing you're lost in it, just because you can do pretty much anything in the sandbox mode, and the physics-based combat allows for some really cool kill moments and some just awesome moments where it just makes you feel like a badass. And that's kind of what this game's all about, is making you feel like a badass. And there's some challenge involved a little bit, but for the most part, this is a game where you just become a god and just wreck people, and it is a lot of fun. Definitely worth the buy. All right, guys, at number 7 we have Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. Now, this one was on the original list that I did not that long ago, earlier this year, because it's a phenomenal virtual reality game. It's actually a miracle this game runs on the Quest, to be honest. I really thought that this was going to be a PC VR only title for a while, but the technology is getting better. They're a little bit ahead of their times, and we're going to be talking about the next game, which is also kind of falls in that same boat. But Saints and Sinners is a really good game. Unfortunately, it is single player. I definitely think this one could have used some multiplayer in it, as killing zombies in a survival world with friends is always more enjoyable than doing it by yourself, at least in my opinion. I know some people prefer single player games, but I do enjoy the ability to do that with a friend. But Saints and Sinners is still a really strong game. There's a lot of content in this game, a ton of hours to be had playing this game, and, of course, the killing zombies in virtual reality never really does get old, does it? So it's a great game. It's got a good story to it. I definitely think it's one worth picking up if you don't have it already. Most Quest users, this is one of the games they get right out of the gate, and I don't blame you. It is a very, very good game, and I definitely recommend buying. All right, so at our number 6 slot here, we are talking about Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. Now, this game had a little bit of a controversial launch to it, at least on the PC VR side of things. When it came out last year, it came out last December, and people were kind of hot and cold on this game. Now, the reason for that is because the beginning of the game is a little bit slow, there's no doubt about it, but it does pick up. And as much as this isn't a gritty, hardcore World War II story that, maybe some people were expecting it to be, I did really enjoy this game. And I'm typically a person that enjoys more gritty, dark stories because they're a little bit more realistic. And this story certainly I would not say is very realistic, but the sense of presence in this game is, I think, what's really, really good about it, is you do feel like you're part of World War II. You feel like you're on an important mission while playing this game. The environments are really good. The story levels are pretty well crafted with a good variety of really cool moments in them. There is a couple moments that are a little bit jarring, there's no doubt about that, but those are few and far between compared to the really good moments within this game. And I do like this one a lot. It looks a lot better on PC VR than it does on the Quest, but it still looks good enough on the Quest that it's worth picking up. And the game itself is a lot of fun. Plus there's multiplayer, which is another good plus if you're into multiplayer shooters. Overall, I think Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is a good game, and it does deserve to be on this list. It's definitely one, if you have a little bit of extra money laying around, it's worth picking up. There's about a 10-hour campaign as well, so you will get some good money out of your time on that one. All right, at our number 5 pick, we have Larcenauts. Now, this game was an interesting game. It released, and it was really garbage on release, and there's no doubt about it. But then they fixed it really fast, within like a week of it being released, and they made some adjustments that made it pretty playable. And after spending a significant amount of time in Larcenauts, well, I realized it's a great game, really fun game, and it is pretty much the Overwatch of virtual reality. And I really enjoyed it. And there's a lot of players on. It's a big player base that still plays it, and which is really good. So you can hop on there, and you're never gonna have a hard time finding lobbies. They do have a bot system so that you're always in full lobbies. The bots are terrible, but it gets the job done. You have a lot of fun playing this game. It's a team-based shooter, so with that comes some competitiveness. There are going to be people that are going to be very good, so if you're somebody who doesn't like to play against people that are very, very good, and you just really want a casual experience, maybe not the best title, but overall it is really fun. There's a lot of different characters to pick from. There's a good variety of maps now, and the game never really does feel stale. It is a lot of fun to play, especially if you're playing with friends. I definitely recommend Larcenauts, and that is why it is number 5 on this list. All right, at number 4, we have Resident Evil 4 VR. Look at that. How about that coincidence? It wasn't a coincidence. I put it there on purpose because I really didn't know how to sort through 4, 5, 6, and 7 because they're all just really good games, but whatever. Anyways, Resident Evil 4, really good game. Surprised by this one, there's no doubt about it. It's a beloved franchise. This is a beloved game, and porting it over to VR could have gone, really any which way, and it could have definitely gone really bad, or it could have gone really good, and it went really good. The game is really fun. It's a good, solid title. Gives you the Resident Evil 4 that you know and love, but puts you in the boots on the ground version of it. And that also comes with a little bit of fear factor in this game. This game has a lot going on for it. It's just a great game overall. The story is there. It's Resident Evil 4, but in VR. It's awesome. They did it a great job. They ported it over excellently. There's no real jarring mechanics or anything. It feels like a full VR title, and I really, commend the devs on that one. It's overall a really good game. One that you would not be disappointed if you bought this holiday season. All right, at our number 3 pick here, we have Walts of the Wizard Natural Magic. Now, this game is maybe not for everybody, but it's one of those ones that I think everybody should experience because it is really unique and really cool, and it shows you the power of virtual reality, and it kind of actually gives you a little bit of like maybe what the future of virtual reality could feel like. In the sense of, especially with the quest, you're able to use hand tracking to do magic, which is really cool in this game because it gives you a much more, almost a much more immersive feeling in VR compared to using a controllers, because as immersive as the controllers are, now you have free hands and you're able to, cast magical spells with them in a VR world that looks and feels beautiful. It's an amazing game. This is a title that's definitely worth picking up. There's hundreds of objects to really interact with in this game. There's all kinds of magical gestures to learn. There's a 40-level fortress with a storyline. It's got a lot going on for it. The powers feel so cool to wield. If you're watching this video because you have a Quest 2, using the hand tracking on the Quest 2 in this game is just awesome. It has a feel to it that no other VR game on this list has, and that's why it's at the number 3 spot, because it's definitely worth buying. All right, at our number 2 slot here, a game that didn't make it the first time around because it wasn't ready to be on this list, but is now ready to be on this list. And this is Tales from Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars Adventure in virtual reality. The reason why it didn't make the list the first time around is because it was just a experience. It was a Star Wars experience for $20, and it just didn't have the kind of impact that it needed to have. It was only about a 3-hour experience. For $20, that's pretty steep, unless it's a really, really good experience, which, of course, if you're a Star Wars fan, yeah, it was cool to be part of that. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. They have added a DLC. This is now a full 10-hour campaign, and it is really, really good. This made this whole game for me. It's absolutely worth buying now. It gives you a real sense of being part of, the Star Wars universe in ways that no other VR game really has captured yet. Even the Vader's Immortal series, which is not too bad, but it's not worth being anywhere near top 10. This game captures it. This game captures the whole vibe of Star Wars. It makes you feel like you're part of an intense Star Wars universe. It's really awesome. It's a great game. The DLC made this whole game worth it. This game deserves to be at number 2 on this list now. Now, to be fair, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but it's a really good game, and doing it in virtual reality is really a cool experience. All right, we've reached our number 1 pick here, and obviously there's a game that I left off that most of you probably already have guessed what the number 1 game is. Again, this is totally preference. I like these type of games, so if you're somebody who's more about adventure games, this list may not have gotten it done for you. This may not be your number 1 pick, but it is mine, and that is Population 1. I can't deny that this is the number 1 VR game or number 1 Quest game right now that is available. There is a ton of players on at all times. It's a ton of fun. They're constantly updating it. They're constantly having community events. It's a great game. The mechanics just work really well. The graphics are very good, in my opinion, for a VR game, especially on Quest. They look okay on Quest. In a lot of games, there's a huge downgrade. Like Medal of Honor is definitely a pretty significant downgrade from Quest to PC. On Population 1, it's not as significant. I mean, it's still there, but it's not as significant. This game's awesome. It's a battle royale in VR, and it's awesome. I don't know. There's nothing more to say. The gun mechanics are great. Every gun feels different. Your character, you have objectives. You do have a sort of a progression system to some extent. It could use a little work there, but you can get skins. You get special things for doing, in-game achievements. It's just a great game, and it's not only that. it's a ton of fun to play with friends. This is a game that is just so much fun to play with friends. And I know, and I think this game's been on this list 2 times now already, but it deserves it. It really deserves the #1 spot. It's a game that continues to have player base. It continues to have updates. It continues to innovate into VR, and I think it's going to have a long life ahead of it yet. I think this game's not going anywhere anytime soon, and it definitely deserves to be at the #1 spot. You won't be sorry for purchasing any game on this list. I think that every one of these games is really good, and there's a ton of games outside of this list that are really good, and you can go ahead back and check out some of the videos on my channel that I've done on them, but this is the most refined list that it could get, and it's hard. It's hard to pick a top 10 games list whenever there's so many really quality titles, and and now that most of you are experiencing doing things and playing games in VR is different. It's very hard to objectively look and be like, well, as much as, and I have over 100 hours on Hyperdash. I love Hyperdash. It's one of my favorite VR games I've ever played, personally. But objectively, I couldn't look at any of these games and say, well, I think Hyperdash needs to be ranked above this. As good as I think Hyperdash is, I do think Hyperdash is a top 20 game on Quest, but it's hard to pick. It's hard to pick whenever these games are just getting so good. It's a good thing for us as the community. We've got some good games coming out. Zenith is coming out, and After the Fall is coming out. These games are going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to be popping reviews out for all that. It's awesome to see where VR is headed. As much as there's some interesting things heading on in the meta side of things, we don't need to talk about that in this video, but VR is really going good places. There's a lot of good games coming out, and I think that now is definitely a great time to buy a VR headset because you do have a big library of games you could sink a lot of hours into. So with that being said, guys, that is going to wrap up this video today. Make sure you guys do drop a like on this video. Subscribe to my channel for more VR related content. I do Quest and PC VR, all the stuff. I'm trying to, upload as many videos as I can, get you guys a good content. And, I really try to specialize in game reviews. It's very difficult to review a lot of games because it takes a lot of time to review them. And unfortunately, this is not my full-time job yet. If you guys want to donate me like $100,000 to make it my full-time job, please do let me know. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. Drop a like on this one and have a good go at it.